Welcome to the Profit Talk Show. In this show, we're going to explore strategies to help you maximize profits in your business while scaling and creating the lifestyle that you want as an entrepreneur. I am your host, Susanne Mariga. I am a certified public accountant, a certified profit first professional, and a certified tax coach. And today we're going to talk about strategies to help you maximize profits in your business. Hello, Profit First entrepreneurs and thought leaders. I am so excited today because we have a very special guest. We are bringing on Monica Froese. Monica is a digital podcast strategist. She's an AI creator. She's also the founder of Empower Business and Empower Shop. She's a former corporate market leader turned seven-figure entrepreneur. She helps business owners scale through digital products, AI, and e-commerce. She's known for her bold results-driven approach, and she's been featured by major brands. She's been invited to speak to the White House to discuss women's economic empowerment. And she met with the CEO of Pinterest after mastering paid ads for digital products. Through Empower Business Lab AI and Digital Shop Experience and the Empower Business podcast, she teaches entrepreneurs how to leverage AI to simplify product creation, optimize sales, and work smarter. When she's not teaching business, you'll find her cheering for the Buffalo Bills, hanging out with her girls, and testing the latest AI tools. So please join me in welcoming Monica Froese to our podcast today. Hey, Monica, how are you doing today?
Good. Thanks so much for having me.
Well, thank you for joining us today. We're excited to have you. And, this is a very interesting topic because I think a lot of us have been doing what we've been doing for a long time, whether that's manufacturing, running a doctor's office. And, we always wonder what would happen if, we taught people how to do what we do, right?
Yeah, but that is actually, so I have a really kind of an interesting example of this, of someone locally. And this was just, I walked into the store to buy a hot tub. Okay. So again, we know I live in Buffalo because I support the Buffalo Bills. We have like a summer season of 3 months. Your pool is open for 3 months. So I said, I don't want a pool. What's the point in that? I'm going to get a hot tub, but I know nothing about hot tubs, right? So I go hot tub shopping, and it's a local pool store. And I overhear a conversation that the owner is having, I believe, with his business partner. And they're talking about how they're about to go into their slow time and their numbers and all this stuff. And I said, I'm a brand new hot tub owner. I know nothing. I was completely overwhelmed going on the internet, finding all these YouTube videos. Because the thing is, when you work in the information business like I do, that's essentially what I'm in. You can find almost everything on the internet for free. You can ask ChatGPT almost everything nowadays. However, just because you can find it for free doesn't mean you know what you're looking for. Whose seal of approval are you getting on it? Like, I was going back and forth between, do I want salt water? Do I want normal water? So I was had no idea how to take care of this, how to winterize it. There were things I didn't even know I needed a new electrical outlet on the house for it. So as I'm talking to this guy the guy who runs the store, and he's worried about his numbers, I said, well, why don't you package all of this stuff, all this knowledge that you have on how to choose the right pool, how to choose the pump, like just all of that information. Even like I wasn't even thinking about the fact, oh yeah, I'm going to have to worry about chemicals and the filter and how often do I empty this hot tub? I said, why don't you package that up, whether it's how-to guides or even like short videos? Because yes, could I find it on YouTube? But what if it's not for my model that I'm buying? So it's not relevant. I can't find the right switches. I can't all of the things. And then, so we were talking about this and he goes, well, how would I sell it? And I said, well, start by selling it as an add-on to when you're selling the pools and the hot tubs. And he started doing this about 2 years ago. And he realized, he goes, the more I did it, and then he goes to like his conferences with his business partner, people who do the same thing in the same industry. I don't know what those conferences are called in the pool industry. And he started talking about this, about how he created these like essential add-ons. It's almost like an informational warranty kind of thing. And now he licenses this proprietary information across the entire country.
Oh, wow. How amazing. And he's teaching other hot tub sellers how to, or really giving them something they can distribute to their own clients.
Exactly. And one of the things he said to me, he goes, in his world, selling warranties was a great way to pad the profit margin. And he goes, this is essentially the exact same thing. And he can sell both. He can sell this informational package essentially. And he can sell the warranty. And he also said it has cut down a side benefit of this, of packaging his knowledge, as it's cut down on a lot of customer service issues, like people breaking stuff because they have no idea what they're doing. And then they're calling the store complaining like and blaming them. And it creates a lot more customer service work on them. And that cut down on a lot of that as well.
Oh, wow. Yeah. And, I can't tell you, usually before I call customer service, I usually Google it, right? And to have like okay, this is your digital know-how. Now that you've bought this as part of your warranty, that
Even
saves him money, right?
it does. And even when you think about it, there's a million options for all these things that you can, like chemical wise, for example. I was so overwhelmed, like, I have no idea what I'm supposed to put in. And he broke it down in such an easy to understand way. I don't like someone like me, and this is the thing. There's a lot of free seekers out there, but once you're to the level that you're willing to invest a decent amount of money into a hot tub, you really want to know. I don't want to be searching YouTube to figure this out. I want you to tell me.
Oh, yeah, definitely. So tell me about, first of all, what are the things that really do well when it comes to packaging your knowledge?
Okay, so AI is making things interesting in terms of like the informational age, because there is this perception that you can just go to chat and it's going to tell you everything. But chat is still only as good as you understanding what you're putting into it. If you're not asking the right questions, you're not going to get the right information out of it. So a big part of like the packaging is bringing like your unique expertise to it. Like the human element is still very important. I'm actually seeing a huge swing back in what I do, where we kind of went through this age of you could put your information, package it up, and kind of walk away from it. It's like a self-study. And now I think AI is starting to make people feel a little bit more isolated, that they actually want the community aspect of it. Like they want to feel like they're in a group of other like-minded people on whatever topic that is. Whereas people kind of burned out during COVID on Zooms, or like, get me away from the computer. We're almost with AI seeing a swing back where people are like, wait, I don't want to just talk to a robot either.
Really? That is really neat. So are you seeing folks use AI in their digital businesses? I'm just curious.
Oh gosh, yes. Yeah. I feel like if you're going to be a digital creator, if you're not using AI, you're going to just pretty much be obsolete. And here's why. It's not it's an interesting perspective, because it's not that AI is replacing my knowledge. It's that it's allowing me to work more efficiently, right? So things that really just like workflows that took a lot longer internally, even like the structuring, like when I want to create a new product, I can get from ideation to actually releasing it to the market so much faster, because it helps me brainstorm, it helps me structure things. But still, it's the human experience, and not like my example of the guy who's been selling pools and hot tubs for 30 years. He knows so much that he can monetize just based on his knowledge. And again, if I don't know what to ask ChatGPT, I don't know. I was like, do I use salt water? Do I use this? Should I get this chemical or that? And it's going to give me recommendations, but how do I know that they're the right recommendations?
Right, right. You still have to go and look it up because ChatGPT will lie.
It can. I mean, I love it because one of the things, like when you think about Google actually makes you do a lot more work. I mean, they're getting better with the AI, but when you think about when you go to Google to search something, you have to like comb through a bunch of information to figure out what is the actual answer to your question. Whereas chat kind of aggregates it for you, which I really like. But again, it could be aggregating stuff that isn't. And so like you said, you work with like doctors and stuff. Like I think it's actually, there's almost like a whole like if I go to chat and I upload my lab results, just as an example, it's going to tell me some stuff. Do I know if it's real though? How do I know? I still need my doctor to be like, yes, you should listen to this, or no, you should not. So it's almost like there's like kind of like a gateway for a lot of these professionals to step in and be like, yeah, okay, you're relying very heavily on chat now. Like society's starting to rely heavily on it, but are you being led astray? And there could be a whole education factor there for professionals in their businesses to really kind of like not sidestep AI, but really bring awareness to the fact. There was a local commercial of a injury attorney. He's got lots of ads. I've seen him like my whole life. And he did this really interesting AI spin because he said people are now thinking that they can even go to court and defend themselves. And he's basically, so he like had the commercial was this robot that walked into court instead of him. And it was a disaster. And like everything went wrong. And he was like, and this is why you still need my legal services. And I was like, that was actually a pretty interesting spin on that because he's right. You still need humans.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the ChatGPT, as lovely as he is, isn't gonna make widgets for you or anything to that effect. So,
Isn't going to show up in
um,
front of the judge and sit at the table with you.
and isn't gonna make the presentation either, right? At
Right.
least not the one that's gonna sell. So, we still need humans from that. And I don't know, I haven't watched one of those, AI like people like give a lesson, but I think it might drive me crazy if I did.
Well, the one thing I always think about is we get to the point where we don't even know, like you could be sending your clone to you're recording this podcast right now, and I'm not even talking to a human and I don't know it. That's how good it is getting. I was listening to a podcast and this blew my mind. This woman, she's in corporate America and she's an executive and she's got like 12 meetings a day and she has an AI clone. And she sent her AI clone into like 6 meetings the day before. She's in the office the next day and someone walks up to her and starts talking to her about the meeting and it was not her that was in it and they did not know and she didn't have context from the meeting. And I was just like, wow. See, this is the stuff that we're going to be dealing with. Like, where's the level of efficiency that we can use it for without it, like it can't really replace us at the end of the day fully.
Right, definitely. At least not now. Um, so tell me, like, when you're thinking about starting a digital products business, like, where do you start?
Well, now this is something I will say AI is very helpful with. One of the things I help most people in most professions are going to have a ton of documented information on what they do, right? Whether you've written papers, somewhere your brain is in some sort of medium. If it's you give a lot of presentations, maybe you speak on stage a lot. And so what AI is very helpful for is taking that like data download from your brain. So like a lot of people, I work with a lot of content creators. So they have so many modes of their information being out there, whether it's audio files, video files, text files, blog posts they've written, podcasts they've been on, presentations they've given. You take all of that and you put it into AI and that is where it shines. It can really help you digest and break down what your teachings are. It can help you come up with your frameworks is a big part. Naming your frameworks, getting your frameworks done, and then it will help you. AI can really help you. And I have actually a whole custom GPT that helps people do this, where break it down in the types of products you can offer. And I talk a lot about like product ascension ladders. So, how we bring people in to our info business, essentially at the bottom, and how you get them one win, you get them one transformation, and then you move them up the ladder to your bigger offers, whatever that might be. And all along the way, you're solving the more complex problems because as the expert in your field, what your complex problems are up the ladder until you reach the top. And then I also have I teach digital product shops, and how that came about is once you start creating your products and taking the knowledge out of your brain and creating, whether it's courses or templates, spreadsheets, like let's say you have like think of the number of spreadsheets that you could create for business owners or any sort of niche. Like my very first digital product was the family budget spreadsheet that I created for my moms. And now I have budget spreadsheets for single moms. I have budget spreadsheets that serve a whole ton of different audiences. Well, then how are you going to sell that in a cohesive manner? That's why we have our e-commerce digital shops. And it was kind of a nice spin on e-commerce because people hear e-commerce, they think of physical things that ship. I have never shipped a thing and I would love to, but I don't want to deal with the current tariff situation. I don't have to worry about that with digital products. That's kind of the brilliance of it, is hugely high profit margin. You can run a super profitable informational, like digital arm of your business in ways that people I grew up in tech distribution where we were operating on 1 to profit margin. I'm operating on 75 to 85% profit margin. Very different business models.
Very nice. Very, very nice. So let's say someone is starting their content, right? They're getting ready to do a digital product. Where does it go wrong?
Oh, putting too much in. When we are the experts. Now, actually, this is another thing that that AI is really helpful with. When you're truly the expert in your field, it can help you structure and organize things. It can also help you from putting too much in. So the whole idea of a digital product is to get someone from point A to point B in the most painless process possible, right? That everything they need to do that transformation is in that product. But when you know too much, when you know so much about your topic, you'll start being like, oh, I really have to explain this if I'm going to explain that. But do you? Do you have to explain all those little nuanced things that you know into the product? And I find that experts really they go very squirrel. I say, don't put the whole entire kitchen sink in. Like, that's not the purpose of these digital products. It's to help people who are not experts in your field get a tangible result in the fastest way possible.
I love it. I love it. And so let's say someone launches their first digital product, right? And they're surprised because it came out into the world and nobody bought.
Win.
What's the best way to sell a digital product?
That's a great question. So, first of all, I think people when they create digital products, they think, I created it, I put it out there. Why is it? It's not magic. You still have to actually this is like the number one question I get is, how do I get people to actually buy this product? And I won't lie, when I quit corporate America and I started my digital business, I would have loved to sit behind this computer and not talk to anyone else ever again as well. And you know where business is still done? In the rooms that people are in. And that is honestly where every digital product seller should get started. You go out, you find the people who are selling already in adjacent markets, and you network with them and you get in front of their audiences, and it's all at the end of the day, business is all partnerships, and it's not any different in a digital business. Now, there's the alternative where you could choose to be a content expert in a certain medium. Maybe you want to grow a TikTok channel. Maybe you want to grow a YouTube channel as your lead gen. But I work with a lot of people, and I'm going to guess a lot of people who are listening, they don't have the bandwidth to have a lead gen YouTube channel or a lead gen TikTok channel. I'm not present really on any. I have an Instagram, I have a TikTok, but I don't use it for lead gen. I rely on networking, working at like JVs with people who have audiences that I need to get in front of. I run paid ads and I have my own podcast. That's my essential medium. So it's kind of unique to where your bandwidth is and where your people are. But definitely it's to get started. It's getting in front of the right people by networking with people in your industry.
I love it. So it's the old-fashioned boots to the ground.
It is. And it honestly, it is the one thing that really blew my mind, because when I left corporate, some of the things I would say was, oh, I couldn't stand the networking. Well, what I came to learn was, as if I wasn't going to have to network in the business, but what I came to recognize was I just didn't like the industry that I was in. So I didn't like networking. I was in IT. It was just, I wasn't passionate about it, but I'm passionate about what I do now. So it's actually very easy to get in a room full of people and talk about what I do because I like doing it. And it's just kind of a snowball effect from there.
I love it. And, it's interesting, just like you said, because people get into digital products because, they're thinking, okay, I'm going to package what I know.
I'm
And
going to be passive. There's nothing, what I like to say is that, first of all, there's nothing in this world that's truly passive. Even if you're investing, you're still somehow you're paying for your investments to be monitored, whether you're doing it yourself, your financial manager's doing it. Nothing is truly passive. What digital products are highly profitable.
got it. Got it. Yeah, that would be a very surprising thing for a lot of people not knowing that. So getting in front of people and how do you meet those people that are in those adjacent fields?
Well, I am a firm believer of really paying to be in the room. honestly, I feel like that is what most of us do. So finding like right now, I'll give a great example. I kind of ignored AI when it first came out. I not that I was skeptical, but I was like, let's make sure that this is going to be a thing that sticks around before I invest all my time and energy into it. And lo and behold, it's sticking around. So I felt by the time I was ready to embrace it, I was a little behind the curve and I knew it was going to be a big part of my business. So I joined a mastermind essentially. It's a community. There's probably 650 paying members in there. They have great community events. I've met wonderful people, and a lot of them have very similar audiences to me. And so now we're starting to schedule things like going on webinar tours. Like training tours and stuff like that. Um, getting in front of I there's people who teach, like, just for an example, since I help any sort of content creator, I might get in front of someone who um helps people. I'm trying to think of like a good example of someone that I've worked with recently that had like a very niche audience. Makeup artists. She teaches makeup artists how to basically like um monetize their businesses and get in front of like more customers essentially. And I went, and a lot of these people, they have very unique skills on like their how they do makeup, and they wanted to learn how to package that up and sell it to the masses. And so I went in front of our audience. How would I have ever reached makeup artists before? You know how much that would have cost me in ads? Instead, I got in front of this huge community of makeup artists, and they wanted to take their expertise, package it up, and sell it. And it ended up being one of my most profitable trainings that I've ever had, to an audience I wouldn't have had access to if I hadn't put myself in the room with people who are talking about AI.
Wow, I love it. Absolutely love it. And any preferred platforms for these
In
digital
terms
products?
of selling digital products, mine's definitely Shopify at this point. Shopify just makes it so easy. And I mean, I always say go with the software that is trusted by like the most trusted. I'm not one that does like the new spin up software. You never know if they're going to stick around. You don't know if they're going to invest in it. So Shopify is like this most solid option. And they've really gone pretty far now. They're really good. You can have your physical products and your digital products in the same storefront. They have a lot more delivery options for digital products now. So it's definitely, and they even have a blog option, so it can help you with getting found in terms of like search engine optimization and all that.
I love it. Well, Monica, one of the questions that we love to ask our guests is if you could leave our viewers and listeners with one piece of advice, and it can be business, it can be personal, what would that piece of advice be?
Okay. I had to think about that for a second, but I think the one thing that helps break people out of like, what would I even create for a digital product? Like, what would I sell? I always tell people, what is the one question that you answer over and over again in your business? Just like they come, no matter what room you're in, that is the number one thing that people ask you to solve. They know you're the expert in it. That's where you start. That is the topic you create your first product on.
I love it. So go with let your customer lead the way, really. So whatever your potential clients or your people ask you, that's what you teach on.
And that's like exactly what I told the guy, my pool store. When I realized that this was a thing, I said, "What's the number one question that you get when someone comes in to buy a pool or a hot tub?" He goes, "Oh, it is hands down the chemicals. People are so tweaked about the chemicals." Now he has this entire elaborate guide and helping people with all, because there's like the chemicals are so intricate of what the issue is with the water. And he has this really elaborate guide. It's easy to understand. He's got roadmaps in it. People love it. Um, so that's where he started. He solved the number one problem that people came in and asked him.
I love it. I absolutely love it. Now, Monica, what's the best way for our viewers, our listeners to get in touch with you to learn more?
Yeah, so I pretty much keep everything under my main website, which is my name, monicafroese.com. There you can find my podcast, you can find different ways to work with us, our offers, and you can even go and check out our shop so you can get an idea of what a digital product shop looks like, and if it's something that you want to start on your own.
And what we're going to do is, for you guys that are driving, I'm going to put Monica's links in our show notes so that you can get in contact with her, follow her, and learn more about creating your digital product. Thank you, Monica, so much for joining us today and sharing your wealth of knowledge.
Yes, thank you for having me.
I want you to have your most profitable year ever. Yes, no matter what's going on in the economy, no matter what's going on in the world, you can have your best year ever. And I want to show you how. Join me in our private Facebook group where I will be hosting our free, yes, I said free, Profit First Masterclass. In Facebook, please join the Profit First Masterclass with Susanne Mariga. I look forward to seeing you there and watching you have your best year ever.